Good morning. So, today I am going to not talk about gardening of any type, but it's Melanoma Awareness Month, and I just want to talk about that. So, I know I've spoken about it before, but I've never spoken about it entirely, and I think it might be time to. So, my problems, if you like, began years ago when I started to get a dark sort of spot that looked like it was a birthmark on my head, and several doctors said to me, "Oh, it's it's a liver spot, it's an age spot, it's whatever, nothing to worry about, blah blah blah." And for years, I don't think it was really. And then about 3 years ago, it started to sort of look a bit odd. And I was on a train to Manchester, and it started to split. That's the best way I can describe it. But it just kind of carried on, and it was fine, and there was no real problem with it, until that split started to become kind of thick and a bit odd and looking like there was something not right with it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was so terrified that I didn't do anything about it, which is ridiculous, but there will be hundreds, thousands, millions of us across the country who are exactly the same when it comes to dealing with anything doctor-wise. And yeah, I just kind of ignored it until it could be ignored no more. And the point at which it could be ignored no more was the point at which I had a nasty fall last year, fell onto my head, and it wouldn't stop bleeding. And when I say that, it wasn't pouring out, but it was damp all the time. So I went to my doctor, and within 2 weeks had an oncology appointment. Within 2 weeks of that, had the thing removed. Within about a week of that, knew that it was a malignant melanoma, and that we were having to go down the path of where has it spread to. And the question wasn't has it, the question was where is it. Now, I am the luckiest woman on the planet, because they searched and searched and searched, and I had MRIs and I had CT scans, and every doctor in the world said that it's got to have spread. There's no way it hasn't. It's 5 centimeters thick. That's really thick for a melanoma. It hadn't spread. That is luck. That's all that is. That's luck. And I cannot tell you what a huge relief it was when I found out that it hadn't spread. But obviously at that point they then had to make sure that it's away from my skin, and so that's when I had this done, which wasn't just a case of having a massive amount of my forehead taken away, and but was also, I had to have a graft. The graft site is on my arm. That's still sore. I mean, I had it done in January and the graft site is still sore. This is still uncomfortable at times, and because they cut through so many layers of nerve, it just from time to time I get absolutely stabbing pains in it. It's really uncomfortable. So it will be fine. Within a year it will be fine, and that's that. It's nothing in comparison to what the other could have been, but it's it's not nice, and I'll never be able to sit out in the sun again, which is fine, because do you know what, doesn't really matter, but it does matter because it affects my work. It means I can't be out at midday in the sun. It's problematic, but I'm alive. All I have to do now is have a CT scan every 6 months and pray that it hasn't reappeared anywhere. And, you know, I've been without a doubt one of the lucky ones. But here's the thing. We are a nation that traditionally have been sunbathers. We are a nation that traditionally haven't really taken sun protection that seriously, and we need to be more vigilant around this stuff. I now never go out without factor 50 on, and I would encourage, I suppose is the word, anybody to do the same, particularly those of us who are outside in our gardens, being, you know, growing food, farming, whatever it is that we do. It's so important that we don't end up with these horrible illnesses that really can be avoided. If I'd have taken a little bit more care and put myself probably a little bit before, oh, I've got to do this now, and oh, I've got to do that now, and oh, I'll do that in a minute, I'll put some sun cream on in a minute, and really thought about the effect that the sun can have, even here in the UK, I wouldn't have been in this pickle. And there are probably thousands of people up and down the country exactly the same. So I'm just asking you to be really, really, really aware. We're all spending huge amounts of time in our gardens at the moment, those of us that have them. You know, we're on our allotments. We're trying to avoid becoming a part of the health disaster that's happening, but we have to make sure that we don't become part of a health disaster in the future as well. So please wear sunscreen. Please wear a hat on bright days like this. Please be aware. And if you're somebody who works in horticulture, please be aware for other people. You know, please make this something that we all talk about rather than hide and try not to talk about because, oh, it's a bit uncomfortable. Let's be really, really honest. I don't care who uses me as an example. I don't want anybody to go through this. And let me tell you, the last 6 months have been hell. And terrifying and fearful and all of those things that you don't want in your life. But, you know, at one point I genuinely thought, this is it. I'm not going to see my daughter hit her next birthday. And I don't want anybody to feel like that. So wear a hat, wear factor 50. Don't go out in the midday sun in a strappy top. Be sensible and look out for other people. And yeah, that's all I've really got to say. But also please be aware that it is Melanoma Awareness Month. There is quite a fair amount of information online. There isn't as much as there would have been because most of the campaigns have been postponed due to lack of funding. This pandemic has caused big problems for people who are relying on funding. So, you know, be aware, use your social media platforms, and please stay safe. Thank you.